Hey everybody, how's it going? I want to tell you all a story today. Something, I figured, I don't know. I was talking to my friend yesterday on the phone and she said to me, that I should tell this story in front of a camera and put it on my YouTube channel. I told it to her. Now, I'm sure you know what the story is, given you clicked on this video and it's got a title and everything, but this story is about the only time I have ever seen my dad crash out. Now, we're gonna need some background here before we get into this. It'll be brief. Let's paint a picture of my father, right? I won't show a photo of him on screen. He would hate that. He would really hate that if I did that. So, my dad, he's a tall, muscular man. Very intimidating looking guy. He's not as tall as I am. You know, he's about 5'9", 5'10", but he carries himself strong and with good posture, and you know, he's got the energy of a tall man, you know, and he's very muscular. He's very, very wide. You know, some would say that he is built like a brick shit house. He is just dense, muscular, bald, you know, covered in tattoos on his arms, and you know, so you look at him and he looks intimidating. That being said, very friendly guy, very, you know, sweet as could be, very, very, you know, very good conversationalist, very laid back, very chilled out dude. You know, my entire upbringing, I don't think he raised his voice at me once. I've very rarely seen him raise his voice at other people, you know. You know, when I say raise his voice, I mean really like yell and start arguing and stuff. I've maybe only seen that like a handful of times. You know, surely there's been plenty of times we've been driving and he has a quick moment of road rage and you know, what the hell, and come on, and you know, stuff like that. But generally, never really raised his voice or anything. So, you know, I always like to say I'm much more afraid of seeing a guy who's never been angry in front of me get angry. You know, it's like, what's that gonna look like? Because this guy is just, I've only ever seen him be nothing but calm. So, we got a good background of my dad now, right? Let's paint a picture of me, how I tie into this story. When I was 15 years old, I got my first job working the counter at a pizza shop. Now, the way I got this job is my mother and I were driving around, and we pulled up in front of this shop, I think, for a slice of pizza or something. And they had a help wanted sign on the door, and I had kind of been, I think I had been like verbal about wanting a job and just wanting some money, and I was eager to work at 15 for whatever reason, and I'm eager to work now, just a bit pickier about the jobs that I take, but I was eager to work. I wanted a job, I wanted money, I wanted the experience, so, you know, my mom knew this, so we pull up in front of this place, we see the help wanted sign, she goes, oh, there you go. I'm like, there I go. And we go in, and I talk to the guy behind the counter, you know, whoever he is, I don't know who he is at the time, but he's the owner, I find out, and gives me an application. Fill it out, get my pizza, whatever, and we go home. That same night, he calls me, and I think I missed his call, and he left me a voicemail. And he basically just says, hey, if you want the job, it's yours, right? And I'm like, all right, that's great. And so I head in there. I don't know, next, you know, a couple days later, I go in there. And I start getting trained and everything. And I don't really know what to make of this. You know, I'm figuring it out. I'm 15. I've never worked a job before. I'm probably, you know, pretty stupid and doing stupid stuff. But I'm there, and I'm trying, and there was two owners of this place. It was a husband and a wife. Now, the husband, he was very sweet, very laid back, very honest Turkish man. He was great to work with. Great guy. Very good, right? And then they had this counter girl there who was... Hey, you. They had this counter girl there who was kind of training me as I started. Now, their menu, their point of sale system... You gonna burn your whiskers off? He is staring at that candle. Their menu, their point of sale system was a complete wreck. You're making me nervous. It had so many redundancies in it, completely disorganized. A lot of the stuff was in like broken English. It was very difficult to navigate, and so I was kind of trying to make my way through that, and I was in this new environment and figuring out a schedule and stuff, and so, but I was doing my best, and I was doing okay. Made my fair share of mistakes for sure, but I was doing fine. So my first week or two at this job, which I was only at for maybe like 6 weeks or something, totally fine. I'm learning. It's a little challenging, but it's cool. The one owner, the man, he's good company for me. It's just me and him most of the time. After the counter girl left, who, you know, she was there training me. And I was replacing her, of course. To my shock, after a week or two of training, this gentleman, his wife, comes back from Italy. Now, she was an Italian woman from Italy, and he was a Turkish man from Turkey. They were first generation immigrants that had this shop, and man, she was a see you next Tuesday kind of lady, if you catch my drift, right? I was training with her husband, and him and I kind of came to an understanding that, like, everything was pretty cool, pretty easy, like, we're gonna do stuff this way and it'll be whatever. She comes in, throws that all out the window, micromanaging everything I'm doing, just totally breathing down my neck, just crowding me, you know, no, you're doing this wrong, you're doing this wrong. She was rude to customers, she was rude to me, she was rude to her husband, and then, you know, and then she would sit behind me on her laptop shopping, and it's like, alright, you suck. And so I quickly start to sour on this job when this woman shows up. Also, my schedule sucked. So anyway, this goes on for weeks, and I'm like, alright, this sucks, I want to quit, I hate this, this lady is mean, and I am dreading going here every, you know, day to work. And I'm young, I'm 15, I don't know, I don't know what to do, and so I'm complaining to my parents about this, complaining to my mom, complaining to my dad, and eventually the complaining just goes on so long that, like, especially my mom, whenever I bring it up, she's like, oh my god, just quit your job, like, shut up, just quit your job. And my dad, however, he was, you know, he was a bit more like, well, man, I don't know, you know, you get, you know, this is the way some stuff is, and you gotta quit, or whatever. So anyway, that goes on for a couple weeks. I'm just getting more and more fed up, and I'm afraid to quit, honestly. I'm afraid. I don't know how to do it. I never done it before, and I don't know what's gonna happen. You know, so I eventually kind of hit my breaking point with this job. I had less and less tolerance for stuff that was happening there, and then finally there was an incident there where I had my breaking point. So I'm sitting at the counter, and a customer comes in, and kind of like clearly like an intelligent, well put together guy, and he's, you know, ordering some food, or he's like picking up an order, I think. And I forget what was happening at the time, but the female owner, she was kind of I don't know, she was like causing some sort of scene, just like not acting in a way you'd want to act in front of a customer, and she was just being like very rude somehow, and this customer and I keep keep sharing looks, and he's looking at me, and I'm looking at him, and we understand. There's a mutual understanding there of like, oh man, like this woman sucks. And so eventually he kind of picks a fight with her where she's like preparing his food, like putting his order together, and she pushes her glasses up on her face and like touches her face a bit. And the man in front of the counter, he says, "Hey, I just saw you touch your face and then touch my food, which is obviously unacceptable. Don't do that." And she's like, "No, I didn't." And he's like, "No, you did. I just watched you do it." And then he's looking at me, and then she's looking at me, and I'm looking at her, and like they're starting to go back and forth, and I'm just caught in the middle of the two of them, and I'm like, "Oh God, this sucks." And then they kind of start having this very uncomfortable, very tense, like back and forth, and eventually she like kind of starts getting very loud. She's a very loud, unpleasant person, and she says, this is where I hit my breaking point exactly right here. She says to me, "Hey, our delivery drivers, when they come back in, we're very clean here. When they come back in, first thing they do, they always wash their hands," right? She says that to me to basically like say like, "Yeah, that's true," to this guy in front of the counter, who meanwhile I'm sharing looks with him behind her back of like, "Holy hell, sir, could you give me a job maybe?" And our delivery drivers did not wash their hands when they came back in. It was just patently false. And she's like, right, like they do that, right? Like to me, and I'm like, I'm not a liar. I can't lie, and I'm certainly not gonna lie for this person, right? And that was it. That was my breaking point. I was like, all right, I'm done. Like that was mentally where I had the courage, where I was like, I am absolutely going to quit this job as soon as possible. I'm like, I will not lie for you. That is messed up. And so the guy leaves. She's like, about him as soon as he walks out the door, and I'm like, oh my God, this sucks, and whatever. And I tell my dad and my mom about it, and my dad is pissed. Keep in mind, remember, this video is about my dad, right? I know I've just gone on and on about this job, but this is about my dad. And he's pissed. He's not happy about that. My dad is an honest man, and I've always tried to be myself, and you're asking me to lie to a customer, just bold-faced, like, oh, that's not cool, it's not good. And so he's unhappy. He's like, all right, you gotta quit your job. Friday night, which is the last day that I would work in a week, I go into work, and by the end of the shift, I work up the courage to quit. I don't give them notice or anything. I knew it was kind of messed up to do, but I also didn't care, and I was really starting to have, like, some bad anxiety at this place and just be very uncomfortable, and I just really wanted to get out, and I'm, like, 15. And so, at the end of my shift, I'm behind the counter, my boss is there, and of course I quit to the man. I'm not quitting to this lady. I quit to the male owner. And oh, this is important. My dad is there. I don't know why my dad was there. I lived 3-minute walk away from this place. I just walked to work most days. Sometimes my mom or my dad would give me a ride. I don't know why they would. It was literally right down the street. It was super easy to get there. So my dad is there. I have no idea why he's there. It's a Friday night. He's worked a hard, long week in labor at his blue-collar job. He is tired. Excuse me. He is tired. He is there, meaning he drove there, meaning he hasn't gotten into his beer yet at the end of his hard, long week, so he's not decompressed at all. So he is already pissed to be there. He's pissed at the situation I'm in. He's probably pissed at me because I've let it go on too long and I keep beating on his ear about how uncomfortable I am there, and I'm just still there. And so he's sitting there, man, arms crossed. He's like waiting to pick me up. And he's kind of giving me this look like, you gonna do this? And I look at him, and I look at my bosses, I'm like, alright. Say to my boss, hey man, I don't think, like, this job is good for me. Like, I don't think it's working out. Like, I don't think this is the right place for me, so I'm done. I'm quitting. And he's like, and my boss, he says to me, the nice guy, he says, and now keep in mind, his English isn't the greatest, but it's good enough where he should know to not say something like this. He says to me, yeah, like, I noticed, like, your pleasantness that you had when you first started here, a mere, like, 4 or 5 weeks ago, by the way. Your pleasantness is gone. It's gone away. You're not pleasant anymore. And, oh, man, that's not good. I'm like, oh, that's not good. I'm like, I just want to get out of here. And then, you know, my boss says that to me, and I'm just like, okay. I'm like, yeah, also, I'm quitting tonight. Like, I'm not giving you any notice. Like, I'm quitting on the spot. Like, goodbye. And he's like, what? Well, that's not proper. You have to, like, train the next hire that's coming in and whatever. And it's like, man, like, that's ridiculous. I don't even know how this job works because you guys have done such a bad job of training me. And then, you know, the wife, she starts ganging up on me too. She's like, yeah, like you guys do, you know, you could have been better in this way and this way, and it's like, damn, dude, like I'm 15 years old, man. Like, this is my first job, and I look over at my dad, and dude, he looks pissed, bro. He looks angry, man. He looks like he's about to go Hulk, dude. He's sitting there, his arms are crossed. My dad has massive forearms, and his arms are huge, man. He's been in the gym his whole life, and he's not like juicing or anything. He's just been working his whole life, working in the gym, working these blue collar jobs. So he is a big dude, and he's bald and tired and angry, and these people are disrespecting his son, who's just trying his best, in front of his father. Once again, I don't know why my dad's there. And dude, I don't know what the straw that broke the camel's back was. But man, he couldn't take it anymore. He crashed out, bro. He freaked the hell out on these people, man. He starts screaming at them. He starts saying, you people have mistreated my son so bad. He was like, he's not quitting because he's bad at the job. He's quitting because you are rude, unpleasant, mean individuals, and you're asking him to lie, and you're telling him that he's unpleasant and he's bad at his job, and you're sitting here telling him he's got to lie to customers, and you're jerking him around, and you two middle-aged people are sitting here telling my son that he's unpleasant, and oh my god, and dude, yo, they didn't know what to make of this. They're like, oh god, there's an angry white dude in our shop, and he's scary, and I'm just like, oh Jesus Christ. I'm like, dude, I gotta pick up my check on Wednesday. Don't do this. And he's like, come on, man, like, we're getting out of here. And dude, he was pissed. He was like screaming at them, and I was like, oh, and like suddenly it was like me and the owners were on the same team. It was like, oh my god. It was like, this is bad. Like, this is bad, dude. He looked like he was gonna go Hulk. Veins were popping, spit was flying, dude. Eyes were bulging, faces were red. And he's like, come on, he grabs me by the arm, probably bruised me for weeks when he grabs me, you know, like, we're getting out of here. and we get in the car, and he's cursing the whole way home, you know, this, that, the other. And we go home, and I picked up my check on Wednesday, you know, like 5 days later, and the wife, she's behind the counter, she's, hey buddy, here's your check. And I'm like, I'm sorry about Friday night. And she's like, oh, whatever, it's okay, it's okay. And I get my check, and that was that. That was the only time I ever seen my father crash out. And it was in defense of his son. How admirable is that? Man, I feel like I told that story horribly, but I just wanted to tell it. I just wanted to get in front of a camera again and make a YouTube video and tell this story. So hopefully you all enjoyed that. Tell your dad you love him. Tell your mom you love her. And try your best. Try your best. If at the end of the day you have thought, man, I have tried my best, there's nothing more you can do. There's nothing more you can do. So that's all, everybody. God bless you all. Love one another. Love yourself. Have a great day.